Hey, Ann and Darius, it's Brandon, your new tenant in PH13 at Hampstead Heath. Ann, you asked how you would show up for Regents Park Sawtelle, and I will tell you. So, first off, I did the search already, and you can see that you guys do show up. However, you show up in a way that could be improved, I would argue, and I'll show you how maybe you can do that. The one thing that you saw from my presentation most likely is that this big empty white space off to the right exists and you could take advantage of it. And it sounds like you're working on actually claiming the Google My Business, which is awesome. I don't know what your experience is with Google My Business, but I can just kind of show you some, back end, I guess, secrets if you want to call it. I manage somewhere in the neighborhood of excuse my, let's see here, 200, no, well, there's 81 locations in this account, but the one that you guys will be hopefully claiming, I would argue, so you can see I also run another 38 out of this account, and I'm happy to, this is the unit that's my friend's place that I was just starting to build, and he didn't want to show up because he doesn't want his private information. But with that said, I can show you how a lot of this stuff works, like on the back end. So on the back end, there's a lot of different aspects in terms of the information and whatnot, and you'll see. Like, for example, a realtor that I set up a while back, he's a friend of mine up in the Seattle area who didn't take search seriously, but, I just kind of continuously told him how poor that would be. You can see up there, just for his realtor name, he was showing up about 2,000 times, search views about 1,000, map views about 1,000, a bit of activity. So, and that's from a single realtor, and you can actually get much more detail as far as like the search phrases that come through and actual activity, like how many people call. Again, he is a single realtor who doesn't really care, and so that's why this activity is not that significant. But what I can tell you is when you do work on it, and I'll show you like from here, with some of the dealerships that I manage. Let's use some that are local. Long Beach Mini is one. In their particular Google My Business, you will see they get somewhere in the neighborhood of it's a car dealership, 319 calls. But I would imagine with you guys, you would be able to, over time, build up volume, and literally that Hampstead Heath property, which again, I hope to God that as you guys become more visible, it won't give you reason to raise my rent, but I hope I can continuously help you so that you're in such demand that you'll never have to negotiate or price it lower than you want, because that's what I noticed and thought of when you helped me out, and I really, really appreciate that. But at the same time, I know how visibility and also search really plays into helping businesses literally dominate. And like I said, maybe in the presentation and other places, and you'll see this in any other stuff that I do, like Amazon, Expedia, and other sites. I can show you, for example, I have access to literally all the tools that will show you, how often, how much people benefit from, frankly, the exposure that they get throughout the world as far as their organic presence on the internet. I can show you, and I'll maybe send this to you guys a little later, but how much traffic people get. We might even be able to examine apartment buildings and realtor sites, etc. So you can kind of get a feel for how much you can benefit. But anyway, again, the question today is, how do you show up for Regents Park Sawtelle? So you are claiming the Google My Business, and why I was kind of walking you through that is you can see with the titling here, that can affect your appearance in the terms that you end up trying to show up for. So you might put Regents Park Sawtelle, maybe colon Premier League Inc., since that's the name of your company. And by the way, I apologize, I hope that didn't offend y'all, that I was saying your brand is something that's hurting you, but I was just mentioning that it's just more challenging because it's related to soccer, or rather football. you know, as you guys call it over in, you know, the European region. But also all the names of the buildings are also, you know, bringing up like reference sites instead of actual realtor or rather property SERP results. So anyway, so what I would recommend highly is to title it Regents Park Sawtelle, or Regents Park parentheses, open parentheses, close parentheses, Sawtelle, and then maybe Premier League Inc. Kind of how you titled that page. But let's look at the page. So here are some things that you could change. So I would say in the title here, and if you guys give me the back end of your site, I'm happy to go and actually do all the changes. So all the stuff that I usually charge clients for, I'm happy to just walk in and show you the differences. But one thing that I would also recommend if you haven't done it yet is you'll want to actually look at Google Analytics. And so I don't think you guys have it set up here, but we should get that going so that you know what kind of traffic is actually generated and what's bringing that traffic inside the site. So if you haven't set that up, let's get that going. And then on top of that, we should get you Google Search Console. You can see here with one site that I manage, you know, last 3 months, they got over 72,000 visits. It is a relatively large Chevy car dealership or truck dealership in Houston, but they also show across 3.27 million search terms, and you can see specifically what is generating their traffic. So the point is that you can actually see what Google sees in terms of actual clicks through your site, what queries actually bring those visitors to the site, what pages are benefiting from organic traffic. So anyway, didn't mean to confuse you. So here, again, you might want to change that title. Also up here, I don't know if you can see, do you see how that bubble comes up? It's below, at least in the top part. Your title is Regents Park Premier League Inc. So if you're wanting to get more Sawtelle action, you will want to put Sawtelle in the title here too on this page. So let's consider that and think about that. Also, another thing that's kind of problematic with your site is that you're not secure. Do you see this? That is actually a big deal in SEO. So you will want to change that with your hosts. And if you guys don't know how to work with your hosts and you don't know how to do a lot of that digital stuff on the back end with your annual registration or whatever the case may be, it's a headache, you just don't want to deal with it, I'm happy to help you with those things out too, or at least coach you guys through or teach you how to literally do this. Because honestly, I kind of like doing this in terms of just helping people and teaching and guiding. I can show you an 8-week course I just built for 2 professional photographers and a graduate student who's actually doing data science because she really wanted to learn a lot about the SEO field. I mean, this area is literally huge, and there's just so many opportunities. And when I see things like this, it just blows my mind. I mean, here I forgot this is where the link is, but you can see these are the sites, and this is the search engine traffic they get. You know, literally 3.3 billion searches for Wikipedia, YouTube 1.1 billion. I don't think there's any top realtor / real estate sites in the top 100, but I'll bet you that they do exist somewhere in maybe the top, I guess, 1,000 or 2,000 or so. So we can always look at that if you're curious, and again, we can use them as models and potentially leverage them for your learnings. But again, I would say we should strategize to help you all, and then literally you can get all your units sold and your future units sold, and constantly have a rich base of consumers who are doing things like this, like apartment for rent in Sawtelle. Or maybe even, I noticed, which was kind of interesting, there's also like 2-bed in Sawtelle, something like that. So we can work on that kind of stuff. It's what I find very interesting is that these guys don't even have any reviews, and yet they are showing up. You also see there's a mattress store that's showing up in the local results, which is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. But that shows you how weak the competition is. One thing I really noticed, and I might be considering even reaching out to more apartment buildings or real estate companies, and I was almost going to do it with Moss and Company before I actually met you guys. And I might, frankly, try to do a little bit more work, even though I don't have time, because I do a bunch of different things, including my startup, a podcast, and a few other things, including, those like tons of dealers that I work with on a daily basis. So anyway, I think I've kind of helped, or hope to help explain how you can show up here better with more rich content. And then once we get that Sawtelle, the Google My Business for Regents Park Sawtelle, it will show up here and probably be what will benefit you ultimately. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too much. You can always talk to me later if you have any questions.